Hey everyone, thank you for coming back today. So, with today being Saturday, I know that I usually will give updates, but I'm actually not going to be doing an update today. I think I'm going to probably move that to Monday, and I will tell you why in just a second. So, today I actually have an interview that I did the other day with Per Aksel from Norway Goes Carnivore. We had a great time talking the other day. We ended up talking for like just over an hour, and he gave a lot of really good information about him, his story, and just about things in his life that I really think people that you folks should listen to. I really do. I know that I say that with all the other interviews that I've been doing, but folks, the the information that other people give is going to be really important to everyone. And it could be somebody who's watching could actually get some really good information out of what he talks about. So please, if you get a chance, watch all the way through the whole thing. Again, I know it's a little bit long, but please do it. The channel link for his channel will be in the description below. He actually just started a channel, so if you get a chance, please go over there and subscribe. And he's going to be. I'm sending him a copy of the interview that we did, so he can put it up onto his channel as well. So you should be seeing that probably within the next day or so. So why am I not doing an update today? Well, I'm actually going to be in a 5K walk slash run race this morning. It is scheduled for 8 a.m. So this is supposed to be coming out at 9. So hopefully by that point, I should be wrapping it up. My hope is that I'm going to film a lot of it, and then I just want to put all of it together. I just want to have some fun doing some editing, talking while I'm going. I'm probably going to put a little bit of music in there, and I just want to go in there and just have some fun. So that will be that video. Hopefully, if everything works out right, should be out on Monday because I have to work Saturday night, Sunday night, and since I have to be at church in the morning on Sunday and then have to go to work that night, I may not have a lot of time to do a lot of editing, but I'll probably end up doing it Monday and then probably put it out sometime Monday afternoon. Or actually, I start my new job. What am I saying? I start work on Monday. I will have it out as soon as I can. But I'm looking forward to doing this. I'm really hoping that the footage comes out. I'm going to be using my little gimbal that I was using with my phone. So anyway, so thank you everybody. And again, I'm hoping to at least upload pictures and just maybe do a community post to tell you how it went. But anyway, thank you everybody. Thank you for coming on today. Please watch the video all the way through, and like, share, and subscribe. And please go over to Norway Goes Carnivore and subscribe there. Thank you, everybody.
All right, everybody. So once again, I'm doing one of my pre-recorded interviews. So today I have with me Per Aksel, right? So from Norway Goes Carnivore. How are you, sir?
All good here in Norway. So nice to be here and talk to you, Jeremy.
Yeah, I just happened to, I looked over just as I was getting ready, and you've got a YouTube channel going. Excellent. That's awesome. So,
Yeah,
and I was able to watch your quick little 1 minute video. So, I mean, it looks like everything uploaded correctly. It sounds fine. So there we go. I think you're all set.
I wish I had more time for it though, but yeah, we will see.
Yeah. And I mean, for like even for me, all I usually do is because originally I was just doing 2 a week, and that's still kind of what I'm going for, but I just kind of try to find time, even if all I do is just record for a few minutes and then like go and do editing and uploading later. If I just got to sit, sometimes
Yeah.
I'll do that. So, all right. So I sent you the questions ahead of time. So let's go ahead and get started. So tell us about your life before carnivore. Where were things at? What was going on with you?
Yeah, I'll have to step some years back first because I was always the skinny kid. actually, and I got really sick, and in 2011, 12, I heard about this diet called low carb, high fat. That was what it was called back then. And my friend's wife was doing it, and I thought, okay, I'll try this. And I did it
Mm.
for 18 months, and I was really fit, feeling well, things were doing really great. Then I got sick again. I've had like chronic sinusitis and polyps
Okay.
in my sinuses, and a lot of inflammation in my body. So they started giving me a lot of cortisone, stuff like that, and I was just getting bigger and bigger. The body started collecting water, and the fluids. And
Were they taking steroids and stuff too?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And on top of that, when you take steroids, you become a food monster, right? If you're already in love with food, it's gonna get even worse with steroids. So
Yep.
I was like eating 24/7, and I was the king of pizzas and donuts and Dr. Pepper. So when you talk about your cherry Coke, I know exactly what you're talking about, because
Exactly.
that's the only thing I miss actually, is that Dr. Pepper, but that's
Yeah.
another thing. And so I just started swelling up, like a balloon, and my body was full of water and inflammation.
Yeah.
And I even started getting belly button hernia, because my belly was swelling up. It looked like,
Oh.
one of these children you see on television. It's really sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went to my doctor, and he's a really hardcore dude. He's half the time he's a young doctor, and half the time he's a doctor in the military, and half the time he's a general practitioner.
Oh wow.
Really cool guy, and I like him a lot. He's a great doctor. And I came to him. I said, "Oh, what do I do about this belly button hernia?" And he looked at me and he said, Per Axel, it's only pregnant women and fat men that get belly button hernia. So you need to do something." So he was like totally direct with me and to my face, and I appreciated that, because
Yeah.
I needed that wake up call, because I was, you know, in my world's worst shape ever. And he also asked me, "Do you drink?" And I said, "No, I don't drink alcohol at all." "And do you smoke?" "No, I don't smoke at all." I said, "Okay, what else can you do?" And I said, "Well, I've done this really hardcore low carb diet before. Can I do that again?" And he said, "Yeah, do it, do it. Try to lose some weight." So that was basically the new start of this regime, and I did low carb keto for 18 months.
Okay.
Uh, Lost some pounds on that, but I still wasn't feeling good at all. That was the big thing that brought me to carnivore, was that even though I was eating super healthy, I
Hmm.
felt super healthy,
Right.
what they call super healthy. I was still feeling terrible. So I was looking online, because I was getting bored of these diets and all this diet, we call it diets,
Hmm.
and looking for new recipes, actually. I just wrote in keto recipes. And the first thing that popped up was Dr. Barry. Like for the most of us, that's where it starts. And I was
Yep.
watching his keto/low carb videos and enjoyed it. And I thought, this guy knows what he's talking about. And then, sometimes when you look at a YouTube video and it's finished, the next one will start automatically.
Right.
Yeah, like autoplay or whatever. And I was in the kitchen cooking and just listening to this, and all of a sudden his carnivore video started. And I was like, geez, that's pretty extreme, isn't it? And but then he was talking about getting rid of inflammation, getting rid
Hmm.
of aches
Yep.
and pains, all these things that I was feeling at the moment. He was talking about, you can get rid of this. So I thought, well, it's probably too extreme for me, but and I had it in the back of my head, and I went on a trip with a friend up to the north of Norway, and there was really difficult to find any low carb meals around there or whatever. So I
Yep.
started eating whatever the others were eating, and all of a sudden I was drinking Coke out of a can and eating chocolate, and I was binging the entire weekend. and I came home, and I actually had to stay in bed for 3 days. That's how bad I felt after binging for a week, and that's a price I had to pay. So I thought, no, I need to get back on this low carb, and I did for 1 week. And then I was watching Dr. Barry again, and then he was interviewing, oh, what's her name? Kelly Hogan.
Okay.
And she'd been like a carnivore for what, 11 years, or is it 19 years? I forget, but for a long time. And I thought,
Yeah.
man, she's looking good. She's doing this just eating meat. And I heard them talking about getting rid of that carb addiction and those cravings, and that it would all go away, you know. And the next day I actually thought, okay, to heck with it, I'm going to try. So the next day I just started, which was probably not the best idea starting like that, because I had to pay with the carb withdrawals and keto flu and upset stomach. Well, upset stomach is a mild word for it. And it took 2 weeks before I could get hold of any electrolytes or whatever to get me more or less into balance. And I was eating enough fat, and I was not eating enough salt, because you think, oh, this must be enough. But that's because you're programmed to cut away the meat, you know, usually.
Right.
Or to, don't use that much salt. It's not good for you. So, yeah, that's how it all got kickstarted. And I'm on day 73 today.
All right, on.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so you've been doing for 73 days now.
Yeah.
So, I know I'm probably going to jump a little bit, but here, so actually, let's see, where am I going here? Okay. So you kind of talked about, so what are some of the other transitional issues that you've had? So you went through, I don't like to say typical, but I mean, you know, you went through the basic like withdrawal, you went through, you know, sort of the keto flu. Any other issues that kind of stand out as you were going from just eating the garbage to what you're eating now?
Yeah, first of all, I need to say I used to hear people say that, yeah, it will take from 3 days to 2 weeks, you know, to get fat adapted and whatever. For me, it took 4 weeks. I had a really hard time, and I didn't want to give up. My stomach was so upset. I don't know if I had a lot of candida growth or whatever, or what kind of transition this was. And at least I started sleeping well. That's
good. Okay.
Yeah, one of the good things. But I had such brain fog, and I was, what do you call it, lethargic. Like I was fatigued. I had no power. I mean, I couldn't even lift my arms above my shoulders. You know, I was totally dead. So I must have been doing something wrong, or it was just a very hard transition. But I just stuck with it, because I thought, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And it's always hard in the beginning, but I didn't expect it to be hard, to be honest with you.
So what was your weight that you started at?
I was at 278, which is what, 126 kilos, and I'm 6'3", which is 190 centimeters. So the thing was, most of my fat was around my face and around my belly. It was like centered in these places, probably because of the steroids or whatever. I have no idea. But I'm down 48 pounds, which is 22 kilos. So I'm really, really happy about the weight loss. And my goal is to go down to 220, and I'm around 230 now. So it's not that far to go, really. It's just, if I can do 220, I'll be super happy, because the inflammation and the joints and the pain in the joints and whatever is the main goal now, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And folks, so, you know, again, you know, with me, the big thing with me is the weight. Okay. But please remember that you do not have to be, you know, massively obese to do carnivore. You could have problems, you know, inflammation and joint pain and a lot of other things, and you may be, you know, thin and looking great, but you could still be feeling like garbage.
Yeah, true.
You know, so please remember that the way that we are eating, honestly, is the correct way. It really is. And like a lot of people will always say, give it 30 days, give it 60 days. Because I mean, honestly, what would happen? Seriously, what would happen if after 30 days, if you were having joint pain or irritable bowel syndrome, or you had a lot of different problems, and you just tried something for 30 days, and you know what? And it doesn't work for you. Okay, no,
If you're not happy after 30 days, we'll refund your misery, right?
yeah, exactly. It'll come back on you 100-fold.
Yeah.
No, probably not. But I mean, seriously, I mean, and also, and again, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but also, folks, make sure that you're tracking, all of your symptoms, and
Yeah.
write, if you have to, write about it every day. Create a YouTube page and go on and talk about it every day. Because honestly, I can guarantee you that if your problems are all starting up here at the top on day one, they're going to gradually go down. And even if after 5 days, 10 days, 3 weeks, even if you're just seeing a little bit of progress, it's still going to be a lot better than just doing whatever it is you're doing right now. So just keep that in mind, folks,
Yeah.
please.
That's very true.
Yeah, because, and I I know that with a lot of the videos that are out there, especially with people who are just starting out,
Mm.
you're gonna see a lot of them talk about this, the issues that they have, the struggles that they are having, and that's good. Because, and I'm not saying that the struggles are good, but it's good that you hear it,
Yeah.
because I mean, especially with you, you said it took you maybe almost 3 or 4 weeks to finally get over some of that stuff. There are some people that will go through that transition, and it may only be a couple of days and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
But don't think that that is the standard, because it's not.
That's what I want to say as well. That's why I said for me it took 4 weeks, and I'm so glad I didn't give up, because what I have now is so worth doing it for. And just to sum it up, I mean, I had severe acid reflux. I used to take Nexium every day. I used to take these chewing tablets and drinking stuff and whatever. It's completely gone. It's completely gone. Haven't had acid reflux in what, at least 2 months.
Right.
Totally gone. Last summer, I was in the hospital 4 times with an ambulance with tachycardia. I had
Wow.
huge tachycardia problems. Haven't had any of that. Totally gone. I'm off all my blood pressure meds. All of them gone. So that's the thing. It's not only the weight loss. I'm really happy about weight loss, because I needed to lose that weight, and a lot of it I think was inflammation and the fluids and whatever. So it doesn't matter what your goal is, if it's
Right.
weight loss or if it's health benefits. I think
Right.
I do it no matter what.
Yeah. 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 Because honestly, at the end of the day, I mean, look, it's really simple. If you do this for 30, 60 days, either one of two things are going to happen. You're going to feel a lot better. Your weight's going to drop, or it won't.
Yeah.
And so what happens then? That means for 60 days you ate a bunch of meat. I trust me, folks, I'm not trying to throw this off. I'm just trying to, hopefully get you to think about just the idea of, all right, well, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
So please just think about it.
Yeah. What is it Dr. Berry says? He's up with a finger. He says, you can try it for 90 days. You should try it for 90 days. So
Exactly. I mean,
try.
seriously, what's it going to hurt?
Mm.
And see, and that's the other thing too, is, when you listen to Dr. Berry's video about carnivore, he talks about, doing a couple weeks of transition, going from whatever it is that you're currently doing right now, to slowly adding more protein, while at the same time removing some of the other stuff. Yeah, you may have, your stomach may get upset. Your going to the bathroom is going to change its consistency. I mean, let's just be honest. But if you just give it over time, eventually after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you'll get to the point where, okay, I have now pretty much introduced, 100% protein into my life. I've gotten rid of all the other stuff. Now let's start going forward.
Yeah.
So, because honestly, folks, 90 days, 3 months is in the grand scheme of life, it's not that long, So it, try not to overthink it. So okay, so you've talked about a couple of your goals. What are your goals? What is it you want? And I think you've kind of covered this, but what is it that you want to get out of doing this carnivore lifestyle?
Well, since I was 17, I've had inflamed sinuses and chronic sinusitis and polyps and whatever.
Hmm.
And for 10, 15 years, I didn't have any sense of smell, any sense of taste. I could taste salt, sweet, or sour. That was it.
Wow.
But I didn't know what the food was tasting at all. So I could basically eat whatever, didn't matter. A lot of my sense of smell has come back, so I can actually
Nice.
enjoy it and savor the food, and,
Yeah.
the taste buds is waking up, it's crazy. I didn't think it was possible. I'd basically given up on smelling and tasting whatever,
Yeah.
And of course, there's some disadvantages to that as well when sitting next to someone on a train or seeing someone smoking or whatever, because I didn't smell that either. So there's ups and downs to that, but I'd rather take that than not smelling at all. If you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So that's the one part. The other part is about the inflammation in joints and
Mhm.
muscles and whatever, because my body was hurting everywhere. I'm
Right.
not sure what. It doesn't matter really what it was because of. It was because of bad diet and a lot of medications, drugs, whatever
Yep.
that was put
Yep.
in my body. And as I said, if I can go down another 10 pounds, I'm happy. The rest of it will have to be health benefits, and
Right.
I'm all good with that. I'm all good with that.
Right.
And yeah, that's the goals. And also, that's why I wanted to come on here and talk to you, because I wanted to share my story as well, because
Yeah.
it is the testimonials that gets me
Mhm.
every time when people share their experience, strength, and hope about being a carnivore and what their
Yeah.
results are. Because that's not a doctor, that's not someone selling me a product, that's not a commercial.
Right.
It-
Right.
It's it's one person telling it to another person as a testimonial, and that has a huge impact. So
Yeah.
that's why I also wanted to share my story.
Yeah. And and folks, honestly, if you have, even if you have, different symptoms than another video, than another person, I mean, the thing that everybody is going to have in common is the fact that you have symptoms that are not supposed to be part of the human existence.
Yeah.
Okay, we are not supposed to be this big. We are not supposed to have joint inflammation. We are not supposed to have irritable bowel syndrome. Okay, that all these different things that are going on is not supposed to be the way the human is supposed to live. If you go back and look at, I mean, good lord, look at pictures from like the 1940s and 1950s. I mean, you would see, you would see people on the beach. They were all skinny. They all ate pretty much correctly. They didn't have a lot of these symptoms that people have nowadays, because that is the way that we were supposed to be. That was the way that we were supposed to look, and that is still the way we are supposed to be today.
Yeah.
And so that is one thing that all of us will always have in common is when we started out, we had things that were not supposed to be a part of the human existence. Keep that
Did
in
you
mind.
see that video by Robert Lustig, by the way, when he talks about how much sugar has been added to our diet from Second World War until now?
No, but I can imagine it's
Yeah,
horrific.
yeah, he's basically talking about Coca-Cola and the sugar and whatever. And I was watching this, and I think it's like 15 times more or 20 times more.
Yeah.
Don't take my word for it. Check out the video if you want to see it.
Yeah.
But he's talking about that, how much more is added to our diet, and there's the problem right there. That and
Yep.
ultra processed food, you know.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I mean, folks, when you look at, you know, I mean, you know, let's be honest. When you go to the store and you go to the meat section, if the meat that you're buying had a list of ingredients, it should just say meat.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, it should not be a mile long with words that have, you know, that have like what, 4, 5, 6 syllables to them. You know, that is not what we are supposed to be ingesting.
No.
You know, so please keep that in mind. So okay, so this is the one that's always strong. Have you, you know, in the 71 days you said that you've been going, have you felt the urge to cheat? Have you felt the urge to want to pull out the Dr. Pepper, or, you know, go back to, you know, some of the foods that you had before? Have you felt that at all?
Well, yeah, I have. I live really close to the border of Sweden here where I live. It's like 15 minutes down to the border, and the meat is a lot cheaper in Sweden. So we go over the border and do our shopping for the ribeyes and whatever. And I was
Nice.
there 2 weeks ago shopping, and they had like diet Dr. Pepper. And I thought, diet Dr. Pepper, that sounds like a really good idea because it's no sugar in it. Because I can at least have the taste, you know.
Right, right.
And I went over and I had the can in my hand and I looked at it. And I just said to myself, no, you don't. And I put it down.
Yeah,
Uh,
there you
it was this close to me bringing home at least one can just as a treat or whatever.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but that would be insane because I would be rewarding myself with a trip back to misery, you know.
yeah, yep,
There wouldn't be a reward, it would be pain and all that aspartame or whatever that's in there. uh, oh yeah. So
yeah.
I have in the shop over here where I used to buy my donuts, I go past it every time I go buying eggs and bacon, but they don't look so sexy anymore, I can tell you that. It's
Oh yeah,
the thing is, I can't even think and remember what they tasted like. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
It's just the texture and the sweetness. It's all gone.
yeah,
That's that's so strange. There's a lot of things I don't remember what they taste like anymore.
yeah, yeah. And what's funny is like, what was it, about a week ago, week and a half ago, my niece had some Oreo cookies, so I actually had one, and honestly, I bit into it, and it was just like, I before I could, you know, I could eat a bunch of those and be like, oh okay, but now it's just, I could just, it was just sugar on sugar,
Uh,
and it just didn't taste good, you know, and I was just like, why did I even do this?
I know, man. I know.
Just, it's like, excuse me, I'm going to take my foot off and kick myself for a second here. So, all right. So, how is your, you know, you kind of alluded to some of this, but how is your life now? Now that you've, you know, you've been going, you know, for 71 days, you know, and this is the first 71 days of the rest of your life. How is it? How are things been going? How are things now?
Things are going more and more smooth. I think it's one of the real advantages is this: there's never any discussion or thoughts about what I'm going to eat. It's
Right.
very easy. I think it's
Right.
so easy to go shopping. Okay, there's steaks, there's eggs, there's bacon. Of course, here in Norway we have some other options as well. So I eat some moose, I eat some wild boar,
Nice. Okay.
some deer. We even have minced whale here.
Oh wow.
Norway is one of the few places in the world that still hunt whales. So don't get into
Okay.
politics about that, please. But probably going to be some haters about that. But I try to mix it up, you know, and
Okay.
eat some of that. And minced moose meat is actually amazing. And I add
Oh
some
wow.
duck fat to it and some bacon and some eggs and make one of these power bowls. You know,
Oh
it's
yeah.
so nice, so nice. So I think it's actually easy now.
Okay.
There, the one thing is I do travel a lot. I
Okay.
have my son lives in the UK. He's been studying there and just started working there. So I go visit him. And yeah, for those of you that travel, you probably know this. airports and train stations is not exactly a super place to find carnivore food.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
So I'll buy some burger patties or some sausages without the bun and whatever,
Yeah.
or just to get me through.
Right.
Uh, and the traveling part is the most difficult. I think I know that a lot of people have mentioned this in their videos when traveling, because it's easy when I'm back home here, no problem at all.
Right. Yeah.
Once you go traveling to another place, you don't know where there's a steakhouse. You can't really cook a steak in your hotel room, can you? So
Right.
you need to you need to improvise. And I've decided to not kick myself if I have to eat some processed meat, like
Right.
sausages or hamburgers or whatever. But I only eat the meat and the bacon and
Right.
whatever. I don't even eat dairy, so I stick with just the burger patties and the
Okay.
sausages. Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course, there's a financial side to it, though, that
Sure.
the meat is very expensive here in Norway. That's why I also go over to Sweden. But
Sweden.
in
Okay.
in the beginning, I was eating 4 times a day, just like I did before carnivore, and
Right.
I was so stuffed. I was more than comfortably stuffed.
Right.
I was actually overeating, and that probably wasn't the best thing for my entire digestive system either.
Yeah.
Uh, then I went down to 3 times a day, started feeling even better, and now I'm eating 2 times a day.
Right.
So yeah, I could probably buy some cheaper meat cuts as well, but I've been doing ribeyes and whatever, lavishing.
Sure. Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this and have some nice meals, and I have had some super nice meals. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, folks, I mean that's something else to keep in mind too is the financial side of it. I mean, honestly, I mean, if I think if you were to look at, let's just say you went to the store and you had two carts, right? One of them let's just say that your budget is $200. Let's say you fill up one cart with $200 worth of meat. Then you go and fill up the other cart with $200 worth of everything that you would normally buy. I mean, number one, the stuff that you normally buy, you're not going to get that much. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, a lot of the stuff, and plus, a lot of it is just going to be gone in one meal. You
Yeah.
know, Whereas if you get the meat, you could get roasts. You could get a ton of ground beef. I mean, I have usually, a cup and a half, 2 cups of ground beef as my breakfast.
Mhm.
And then I'll eat. I do the same thing. I eat twice a day, so maybe 3 or 4 hours later, I'll go and like eat some roast or eat maybe I hate to say cheaper, cut of steak, but still, that's going
Yeah.
to get me through the rest of the day. Whereas the other stuff, if you go and eat some of that, what's going to end up happening is by the time all that stuff processes through and the sugar blasts through and it's all burned itself off, it's going to be a couple hours and you're going to eat again.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go through that and you're going to eat again and then you're going to eat again. And then what's going to end up happening is, within 3 days, that $200 worth of food is probably going to be exhausted. And now what do you got to do? You got to go back and go buy more. Whereas with the meat, chances are, you're still going to have a bunch left over. I put a bunch in my freezer and I just kind of pull it out over time. And, and then I've got meals for, geez, 2-3 days, as opposed to, well, I just, I bought a frozen pizza and threw it in and I ended up eating the whole thing. Well, now what do I do?
Yeah. No,
So,
uh, that's the thing. It is more financially manageable if you
yeah,
say ground beef is perfect for that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, but I felt, at least in the beginning, I need to mix it up a little bit before I got
right.
into the habit. And I was buying shrimp and crab shells
Yeah,
and smoked salmon. And I was going to try it all.
yeah,
I do love food, so there's not a problem there. But the thing is that I found out that eating fish now, for example, or crab or whatever shrimp, it
Mhm.
doesn't get me full.
Okay.
I
Okay.
can't get. I can eat a ton of it, but I still won't get full. So now I'll have some shrimp with my steak, for example, like a surf and
Yeah.
turf carnivore style
Yeah.
thingy. And if I'm at someone's place and they serve fish or whatever, of course I'll eat it, but I'll have
Sure.
to eat something when I get back home. But
Yeah.
what's so surprising though is I can eat like 2 small steaks and 3 eggs for breakfast, and I don't
Mhm.
get tired after eating.
Exactly.
No food
Exactly.
coma. You
Right.
get up and you just go, yeah, ready to take on the world.
Yep.
That didn't
Yeah.
happen before. It was a pizza, donuts, and a Dr. Pepper, and then fall asleep on the sofa.
Exactly.
It's yeah,
Like here in the States, for Thanksgiving, I mean, people will do, turkey, green beans, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and
yeah,
then, you end up having 2 plates of those, and then you want to pass out.
yeah,
Well, it's because your body's like, what did you just do to me? It's, it's way too much.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, that is unfortunately, people unfortunately just think of Thanksgiving as the time to sit down and eat these foods all together once a year instead of just, coming together with family and just eating, but, or just being together. But, it's unfortunate, but that's
It's
okay.
the same here in Norway at Christmas.
Is it?
It's insane.
Yeah.
There's so much food, and people will eat until they're stuffed and falling over, and then they'll start dessert. It's
Right, right. Oh, I'm waking up. Now I need sugar to pick me
yeah,
up
yeah,
for
exactly,
dessert.
exactly. So, but I've been part of that, and the most embarrassing thing, I have to admit this actually, because I am a trained drug counselor,
Okay.
so I know about addiction.
Yeah.
I've been working with addicts for over 20 years, and even though I know all the ins and outs and symptoms of addiction, I still stumbled or chose to go on that path. And I knew I was using food to comfort me or to
Yep.
get me over the
Yep.
difficult emotions, or, oh, I'm in so much pain physically, so I need something. I had all the excuses in the book. Just
Mhm.
like it could have been drugs, could have been alcohol, whatever. I used it as a drug. And
Yeah.
and that's the thing though, with overeating. Like I heard it said that there's nobody overeats on steaks and salad. You always overeat on the sugary, highly processed foods.
Yeah.
If we were overeating on the other stuff, then we'd all be healthy. So there's
Yeah.
obviously a processed food addiction, not just a food
Right.
addiction, but to the processed food and the sugars.
Yeah.
And the sugars, they work on the same center of reward in your brain
Yep.
as cocaine, amphetamines, or
Yeah.
whatever. So there's no wonder people get hooked on this stuff, and then
Sure.
it's so hard to get off. And you even have withdrawals. That should tell you
Right.
everything.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's honestly, it's one of those things where, maybe, for those doctors who are out there, who do carnivore, honestly, maybe you guys should do a video where, you bring up pictures of, illegal substances of, like marijuana or cocaine or something, maybe alcohol, and then bring out sugar, and seriously, and yeah, sugar is not illegal, but the thing is I'm not going to say everybody, but there's a ton of people, especially, here in the United States, I'm sure in Europe, and I'm sure all over, that are addicted to sugar and have no idea, you
yeah.
know, until they stop taking it. And then that's when they start going through the withdrawal of, why do I feel so horrible? Because you're not supposed to be eating this. So,
Do you have the same issue in the U.S. with people being addicted to like Coke Zero, Diet Coke, stuff like that as well?
oh yeah, oh yeah. It's funny. A lot of times, like, I go to the store, right? So, they have, these carts that you push. And so a lot of times I'll go up to the register, and what people do is, not only do they sell the 2 liters, but see, they also sell like 16 ounce, I think, bottles. but they have them like they do cans, right? So it's like 3 in a row or 4 in a row,
Yeah.
but so what they'll do is they will buy 2, 4, 6 of these things, and they will stick them on the sides of their carts.
Yeah.
So when you go walking up and you see people with a ton of food in there, and then you see just rows of soda,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean it could be regular, it could be diet, it could be caffeine free, this free, that free, but it's still the same junk.
Yeah. It's
So
not gonna make you free of anything, that's for sure.
yeah, and what's funny is it would be the same excuse if you were to actually, I think honestly, if you were to start being able to convince people that sugar is a drug, then
Yeah.
you would hear the stories of, oh well, I can stop at any time. It doesn't have control over me. Well, gee, doesn't that sound familiar? You know,
I can stop anytime I want.
I can stop anytime I want. I
Even
tell
though
you,
it's ruining your life, you're not able to stop. That's
exactly.
one of the symptoms, right?
It is.
Doing
It is.
keep repeating the same mistakes and expecting a different result. That's
Yeah.
the definition of insanity, and
Yep.
that's what addicts do, be it
Yeah.
processed food or whatever, and that's why I also recognize that I myself am definitely a sugar addict, because
Yeah.
it was so hard to let it go. But breaking that cycle, that it's such a freedom, when you don't have that craving, that
Right.
thinking about, oh, what am I gonna get next? The next kick, the
Yeah.
next whatever. Where's it gonna come from? And this reward thing. My reward today is being a lot more healthy, losing weight, and eating great food every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And because I've talked about it before. There's many times that I've gone to the store and actually ended up picking up cherry coke and actually drinking it. But so I know right there that I am still addicted, at least if nothing else, to that particular drink, but still addicted to sugar.
Yeah.
And you will find a lot, probably all carnivores will all say the same thing. They will just say, hi, my name is Jeremy and I'm a sugar addict.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, for some
You
people
don't
it's
go,
like,
hey,
oh, that,
Jeremy.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, for a lot of people, a lot of people go, oh, haha, that's funny. But you know what? I honestly, they will all tell you the same thing.
Mm.
And it's I think maybe you say it, and maybe just to kind of get a laugh, but in actuality it's true, and you're being honest.
Yeah.
And I think that I think if you were to, maybe that, honestly, maybe that's what I should do is, as I start continuing to interview people, I think I'm just going to start asking, hey, do you feel you are addicted to sugar?
Yeah.
Because that's just one of those things that is prevalent in everything, in all of our food, and all of all the liquid that we consume, is there's going to be sugars in there. So
Yeah,
but
it's insane actually how much,
yeah,
when you start looking at everything. You walk into a store and look at everything there. The sugar
yeah,
and salt in everything,
yeah,
in
yeah,
everything. And so the only escape is eating a pure, non-processed, meat-based diet.
it is.
It's the only way you can escape it.
Yeah. And
So
again, folks, so there are videos like from Dr. Barry and some others where they talk about if you honestly, I mean, if you can't afford to buy the steaks all the time, I mean, he does say that he would rather see you eat like like the canned sausages,
yeah,
or spam or something like that. If I mean, if that's all that you have access to right now, I think you would rather see you be eating that, as opposed to going and buying a pizza, or going and buying something. Oh, well, it has protein in it, yeah, but look at all the other stuff that's in it too.
yeah,
So don't especially if you're just starting out and you're making that transition. Don't feel like, well, every meal has to be protein right now. Well, and it all has to be steak. Well, so that whole thing where it has to be, prime cut or anything higher than that, or wagyu or something like that. Well, most people aren't going to be able to afford that anyway. So just go to the store and buy what you can afford.
Yeah.
And
And
as you start pulling away from that other stuff, you'll be able to afford more.
that's true. And in the first 4 or 5 weeks, I ate a lot of hot dogs.
Yeah.
Because, and also I had a little bit of mustard on it because I needed something to just taste, just to get me going. Now I've stopped with the hot dogs and stopped with the mustards. I'll eat it when I'm traveling, like I said earlier. But it's as you say, whatever means you have, and
Yeah.
put that into the best possible meats you can get for what you
Right.
have, is better than not eating it at all. So I completely agree.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Okay, so here is I personally I think is the most important question that I ask is, do you feel at this point, looking back on your life, looking at the last 71 days, do you feel that going to carnivore was the right decision for you?
I'll have to say absolutely. With the results I've had and the way I feel and the way I'm able to eat, um, I mean, at this moment, I wouldn't have it any other way. And I think that there are still more levels to this,
Yeah.
if I keep going. That because I still have some allergies left. I still have a little bit
Mhm.
of inflammation. I think that maybe this can get better and that can get
Mhm.
better, and most of all, the health benefits of eating such a clean, non-processed diet
Right.
will hopefully give me a longer and better life.
Right.
Someday my son will hopefully get some kids, and I'll get to be a grandfather, and I want to be able to play with those kids and run around. Not be the
Yeah.
one sitting in the couch with the oxygen up the nose, and
Yep.
all I can do is like give them $20, whatever. Because I can't be there. I'd rather be
Right.
there and take them out and do something fun.
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
that's that's one of my long time goals. I like my life. I want it to be as long as possible.
Sure.
It's yeah.
Yeah, because and again, folks, this is obviously this is a choice that you have to make, right? And if you've if you're obese like me, or you've got a lot of symptoms in your life, and it's debilitating you to the point where you can't really get up and move. And honestly, folks, age does not matter. If you're you know I mean, I'm about to turn, good Lord, 52 in a couple days. But it doesn't matter if you're 62, 72, pushing 100. If you've got debilitating issues and you're still eating, the garbage, what's it going to hurt to try changing it? Because it again, like I said, it's either going to help you start feeling better or it's not. So,
Yeah, definitely. And it's never too late to start a carnivore diet. I've
yeah,
seen many people like in their 70s and early 80s that have started
yeah,
carnivore and dropped a lot of meds and feeling better and
yeah,
whatever. I turned 54 just 2 weeks ago, and I'm you know heading towards 60. Whatever. It is what it is. I can't reverse anything. Of course, I wish I'd heard about this 25 years ago, so I could have
yeah,
done it differently. But it's too late for that now. The only thing I can do is stick with it from now. I have started and found it, then I can
yeah,
stick with it and do the best I can do with it, and also
yeah,
share it with others so that they can get the same chance to change their lives.
yeah.
Um,
And folks, he's only been doing this for what
3 days.
2 months and 2 months and a couple weeks, or
Yeah.
imagine what you're going to feel like in 6 months, a year,
Yes.
and yes, you got to get to that point. Yes, there will be, I'm sure there will be struggles, because I think there is with everybody, because we're all human. But as long as you continue to focus on the idea that this is going to change my life and this is going to fix the problems that I have right now.
Mm.
I mean, man, imagine how you're going to be feeling so much more vibrant, and I'm sure that the lingering little stupid things that are still there are gonna go away, and so it is a choice. It is. And we just hope that you're going to make the right one. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. We want you to make the right choice that is right for you.
Yeah.
And you can look at us and think we're insane, that we're crazy. Okay. I mean, you just said what the definition of insanity is. Well, here's the problem with that is there are so many of us that are doing this and are getting positive results, and we are all getting different results, but the results are working. So insanity is not going to work for this. Okay, so is there anything else? So we've gone over what your life was like before, the issues that you've had, where things are right now. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up that you would like to be able to tell people about carnivore and about the carnivore lifestyle that we haven't covered?
Well, it's difficult, at least in the beginning, to be socially awkward when people ask you out for dinner, or you come to someone's place or whatever and say,
Right.
"I eat only meat."
Right.
You become a social pariah. Nobody wants this guy or this woman visiting because of all these strange eatings or
Yep.
non-eatings or whatever. But this is exactly the same as people who are allergic to gluten or allergic to dairy or whatever. If they come to
Right.
someone, they say, "I can't have this because of this and this." And I'll just have, for my health, I cannot do this. So sometimes I've chosen to eat a big meal before I've been going.
There you
And
go. Yeah.
because I didn't know what they were going to serve. And
Yeah.
then, okay, there's like some shrimp here and some meat cuts there. I'll have that. And just telling people that I can't eat certain things.
Yeah.
Um, and now that I've been doing it a little bit more, I basically don't care anymore what people think, to be honest, because this is my health and my life, and that has to be more important to me than what people think of what I eat or how I interact in social settings.
Mhm.
Uh, so I think that if you're afraid of your family or friends or whatever, what they're going to think, then please try to think of yourself, and that
Right.
this is about you. This is about your health. It's not about their health. It's not about their life. It's not about their choices or their aches and pains or
Yep.
inflammation. It's about your pains and your situation, and you're the only one that can choose and to do that, because nobody's gonna you know, knock on my door and say, "Hey, I'm going to make some steaks for you." I have to do it myself. I have to make
Right.
that decision, and I have to wake up and make that decision every day. Today is going to be a carnivore day,
Yeah.
and that's basically it.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I've chosen now, that nobody else can make that decision for me. I
Yep.
need to make it. I need to do it, and also I get the benefits. I get the results. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And I don't know. It's interesting what you said, because you can tell people that oh, I have a peanut allergy. I can't have dairy. I can't do this. I can't do that, and that is acceptable.
just
But you tell people, oh, I'm only eating meat. What's wrong with you? I mean, it's
you're gonna
it's
get
strange.
it's curvy. You're gonna die.
Exactly. But I like that idea of eating beforehand. I mean, that's I may actually try that sometime.
Do it. Do it. Because then you won't get hangry either, when you're there. You would just eat what you want and then have a small little plate, and that's it.
Yeah.
Fine.
And I think the other thing too is see, folks, this is why I keep pushing the idea of keeping track of all of your ailments, all of the issues, all the different things that you have. I mean, again, for me, people can see me losing weight, but I mean, if I wasn't this big, but I still had a bunch of ailments, you may not be able to see them. I mean, things like like arthritis or stomach issues or different other pains, it is not going to be visible by the naked eye. So you have to be, I mean, honestly, you have to be ready to tell people, you know what? Yeah, I may be eating weird, but you know what? I had this and this and this and this and this. And guess what? 4 out of those 5 are gone and the other one's almost gone.
Yeah.
So and it's this is going to be, people may kind of laugh and scoff at what I'm going to say, but you've got to be consistent about it, and you've got to stand up for it too. And I'm not talking about getting into fights with family or friends or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But don't play it off like, like it's just, I heard about this carnivore thing, and I kind of tried it, and it kind of did this, and blah, blah. Now you start doing that, and they'll be able to laugh it off and help you laugh it off. I mean, so, but what you got to do, because what's funny is I've been telling a lot of people lately, and even when I'm out with people, with people at church or somewhere, they will tell, they'll come up to me and say, man, you're losing weight, what are you doing? Carnivore.
Yeah.
And I think almost all of them have been like, I've heard of that. I that's a good idea. So I think the more that we do this, and the more that you tell them, especially when they say, well, what is carnivore? What is that? Then you can jump in and tell them, this is all about, not only eating protein, but you're getting away from all the other garbage.
Yes.
I think if you just tell people it's eating meat only, yeah, I might look at you weird. Yeah. Because honestly, it's not just meat. I mean, yes, it is, but it's, you can also do dairy. You can do, you can do eggs, you can do chicken, you can do fish. You can do, moose, whale. I mean, there's all kinds of different things, but it's all based on animal, right? And it's going to be, again, when you look at the ingredients, it should just be egg. It shouldn't be egg and this and this and this and this and this and this.
Oh.
So, but it just keep that in mind, folks. Is stand up for it. Don't get into a fight about it, but stand your ground. And the thing is, and see, here's the thing: is you come to visit number 1 and you tell them about it, and they look at you weird, and okay, yeah, sure. But then visit number 2, guess what? You're feeling better. Visit number 3, you're feeling even better. Visit number 10, you're going to come strutting in and be like, remember all those problems? Those are gone.
Yeah.
And they're going to still be sitting there with the problems that they have. And, then what's going to happen is the more you talk about how well things are going for you, the more they're going to start thinking about, well, maybe he's got it right. Maybe she's got it right. And that's going to be the moment when you can start talking to them more in depth about how to do it, who to go watch on YouTube, how to start doing the research. And so just have some talking points ready, but have your list, have your your issues, and be ready to talk about them. And I do have one more question that I just realized I skipped, and this is probably, I think, number 2. Tell us about, I mean, we did kind of go over why you decided to do carnivore, but what is your why? What was the reason? What was the one thing that you just finally had that aha moment and said, you know what, I need to do this?
Yeah, well, it's a cliche maybe, but it's that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Basically, I had it so up to here, especially after that binge weekend with my friend,
Yeah.
and 3 days in the bed afterwards. And I was like, "What's going on with my body?" It was like I was getting a flu or something. My whole body was aching because I'd stuffed it with sugar for 3 days after
Right.
being low carb for almost 18 months. Of course, that's going to be a shock to the system. but then I kind of realized what this was doing to me, you know,
Hmm.
and at the exact correct time, these videos started turning up. You know,
Right.
it's like
Right.
a godsend. You know, it's like
Yeah.
this is the answer. Go here, check
Yeah.
this out. And then I started looking at these videos, and it all made sense. You
Yeah.
know, I'm all for common sense. I'm a common sense person. Tell me something sensible, and I'll listen to you. If I'm wrong, I'm going to change my mind. You know,
Right.
that's
Right.
that's who I want to be. And when I was told this, I was like, okay, I don't have to eat avocados or Brussels sprouts or these low carb veg things. I can do only meat. And I remember when I sat there with the first plate of just steak and 3 eggs, and I thought, this looks crazy. I did. I thought, now you completely lost it, you know.
Yeah.
But now it's like, bring those steaks out, baby, or
Yeah.
bring that minced meat out, or
Yeah.
whatever. You know,
Yeah.
it's lamb season here now in Norway in the autumn, so we got a lot of really good lambs. I've
Oh
slow
wow.
cooked some lamb yesterday for dinner, and the rest of it is going to be for dinner today. It's amazing. So there's
Nice.
so many variations you can do. There's a lot of good fat on there and really tender meat. You know, so there's a lot of options. It's
Yeah.
and some people say to me, "I don't like steak," and I was like, "How can you not like steak?"
All right.
Yeah, or of course the classic one, red meat is going to give you a heart attack. That's the classic one.
Yeah.
But yeah, uh,
And folks, there's a lot of things that are out there that are not steak that are still going to be really, really good, really tasty, and still fall within carnivore. So
absolutely,
don't
absolutely.
freak out about that.
And when you talked about earlier as well about talking to people, what I experience is that people come up to me. I used to be a 3XL, now I'm an XL size.
Nice.
So it's down
Yeah.
2 sizes. I had to throw out all my wardrobe, start buying new clothes.
Yeah.
It's expensive, but it's a good type of expensive. And people
Right.
come up to me like, "Man, you look good. What have you been doing?" You know? And then you tell them about the diet and what's going on, and they're like, yeah, I try to eat healthy, but is usually the question. It's like, okay, if you
Yeah.
want to know more, let me know. Usually that's there's no follow-ups, but I'm here
Right.
if they want to hear about it. And you
Yeah.
can also get some snarky comments. I was with some friends in Sweden 2 3 weeks ago. They play in a band, and we went to this club and whatever, and stayed at the hotel. And the next morning, we were having breakfast at the hotel. And I,
Hmm.
of course, had like 4 boiled eggs and a ton of bacon, and had added a couple of meatballs and a couple of sausages just to get started, you know,
Yeah.
like a good carnivore breakfast. You know? And, and the keyboard player in the band was sitting next to me, and he looked at my plate and said, "My God, that's a huge carbon footprint." And I was like, okay. I don't care. My health is more important
Yeah.
than whatever, you know.
Yeah.
It's so people, but he could probably do with losing some weight himself. So I don't know if he's just jealous or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know. But so I was like, yeah, yeah, whatever. I don't even dignify it with an answer, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And folks, I was thinking about something you said earlier about how you had that weekend and then things just kind of inflamed up.
Yeah.
um you know Folks, it's not, it's not like, oh, that's just in his mind. He's just nah. No, this stuff is real. And honestly, if you want a really good story that's really going to drive it home, her name is Michaela Peterson. She is
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson's daughter. She has an interview with Joe Rogan. Um, about halfway through the interview, she talks about how she had been, doing carnivore for a while, even though at the time it, wasn't really called carnivore. It was just sort of low carb, high fat. And then I think she had said that one weekend she went and made these muffins that she really enjoyed, and she ate like a bunch of them or something like that. She was down for like almost a month. I mean, the reaction that she had, because she's got, you just have to, honestly, you just have to go and listen to her story, and also listen to Jordan Peterson's story too. It's there. Okay, so there are doctors that are out there that will tell you how to do carnivore. There are people like us here who will tell you about tell you about stories. But if you really, I mean, if you really want to hear like hardcore stories about medical, I mean, start with those two, and there's a lot of other people that are out there, but the stories of those two is just, it will shock you. It really will. And, because one thing that, neither of us have talked about is things like depression, anxiety, a lot of different things that people have to get medicated for. But you don't have to be medicated for it. You can honestly, if you do this, I mean, I can't promise, but I can probably almost guarantee that things will change in your life, and you'll be able to get rid of all those pills.
It's worth a
And
try,
it
definitely.
is. It is. 60 days, 30 days, 90 days. What's it going to hurt? I mean, honestly. And if you're going to do that, do the 2 weeks, do the transition. And then as soon as that 2 weeks is over and, you transitioned out of all the other stuff, then put 110%, put everything you can into that. And because, I don't honestly, I would rather hear, I think I would rather hear a story of, I did this for 90 days and the issues that I had didn't go away. I would rather hear that versus, I tried it, for about 3 weeks, and then I kind of started introducing this other stuff, and then I did this, and then, and then. It's just, it also has to do, honestly, it has to do with willpower too. But again, figuring out what the issues are in your life and then seeing changes and seeing them get better, seeing yourself lose weight, seeing yourself, not being as anxious, because honestly, those pills ain't going to do you any good. Okay. Our arthritis, if you're having to take aspirin or something like that, for it, you may eventually get to the point where you feel like, hey, you know what? Geez, I don't have to take an aspirin for this today, you know? And and then you keep going, and then the next day is the same thing, and then the next week. So, I mean, if you could seriously go through 90 days and it's not working for you, no harm, no foul. But just keep it in mind, folks.
I've heard a lot of people sharing that they've stopped taking painkillers and haven't had a need for it,
Yeah,
when the
yeah.
inflammation goes down. So there's a lot of stories out there about that.
All right. There's a lot of great stories, and honestly, I think most of the time that you hear people, when they talk about, like the video title will say why I stopped doing carnivore. Well, honestly, if you watch the video, a lot of times they're like kind of switching over to ketovore,
Yeah.
so they're bringing in some other things, maybe just because, maybe, their body needs it, or um it's helping with whatever kind of issue that they're having. And just doing carnivore maybe just, isn't enough. There are people that are out there. Are they the outliers? Maybe. Are they to be shunned? No.
Nope.
It's just, whatever it is that they're doing is making them feel better. So, folks, it's all up to you. It really is. And again, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. If you can. No, actually, no. I mean, I should almost say that from me, this is a prerequisite. If you're going to do this, is journal everything. Just write about it every day. If you're able to, turn on the camera and talk about it. Do you have to upload to YouTube? No, not at all. Because I think, honestly, I think what I would rather see is you go and get your phone, do it this way. Do it in portrait, so that you can show your whole body as you're standing there and talk and just record yourself. I mean, really, I'd rather see you film like this, but not a lot of people want to do it that way. But we won't get into that. But because at least if you're doing portrait, you'll be able to see the whole thing. You'll be able to see your entire self, and then just talk about it. You if you're comfortable with it, maybe wear maybe kind of tight fitted clothing. So, if you're overweight like me, you can see everything. and just kind of do that over time. Or, you know, just turn the camera on and just record yourself. If you're up for it, you know, maybe start putting your, oh, you know what you can do, honestly, is, and I have no problems with this, folks. If you want to send me a link to a video that you have, so remember, you can upload a video to YouTube and you can make it private. And then all you have to do is you can go in and get the link, and you could send it, you know, send it to me. Yeah, I'm sure you can send it to anybody that's got, you know, an email address that's doing carnivore, and just say, hey, look, I'm really self-conscious, but I would like you to listen to my story, and, you know, just see what you think. There's nothing wrong with doing that, you know. And it, you know, if you want us to say something, we can certainly say it. I mean, you know, we, if nothing else, good Lord, if nothing else, we can, you know, keep you anonymous. You know, we don't have to show it, but at least we, geez, imagine if we were to talk about you, even though, you know, you send me a video, you don't want us to name you, but at least we talk about the story. Then, you know, go through the comments, because I am sure that there will be a ton of comments, and then you can go and read through and see what people think. You know, and then, you know, and then the other thing, obviously, is if, you know, if you're up for it, start uploading, start putting your stuff out on YouTube. And again, it's not about the numbers, because you know, I honestly, I was kind of obsessed for a little bit with the numbers when it came to YouTube, but then it finally just clicked that that's not what this is about. It's not about, you know, it's not about me getting monetized within the first month and a half. That's not it. You know, I've been doing this now, I don't know, I think I'm at 30, I don't know, 30 something videos, and I do 2 videos a week. So you do the math, because my brain isn't working right now. But you know, am I monetized? No. But am I reaching people? Am I trying to help, maybe not fix people's lives, but at least get them to think? Yeah, because that's the important thing. So, you know, just journal it. Just write it down. All right, sir. I think we're going to wrap this up. Did you have anything else that you wanted to mention? Once you did kind of mention your channel, but it's at Norway Goes Carnivore.
Yes,
And
yes. I'm not very active there. I haven't really recorded any new videos. I've been too busy eating meat and watching you guys do your stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but before we finish off, I have a little story for you. I thought I was going to tell
Sure.
a little story about the hopeless food addict that was caught in a big black hole. He was caught in a big black hole he couldn't get out of, and he was in total misery, and he was shouting out, "Hey, I'm a food addict. I can't get out of here. Can somebody please help me?" And a social worker walks by this big black hole and looks down and says, "Hey, what can I do for you?" "Well, I'm a food addict and I'm stuck in this big black hole and I can't get out." And she says, "Well, I'll throw down some food stamps for you. That'll sort it." And he says, "No, no." And the social worker walks away, and he keeps screaming out of this big black hole, "Hey, I'm a food addict. I'm stuck in this big black hole and I can't get out." And a fitness expert walks by and says, "What can I do for you?" "Well, I'm stuck in this big black hole of food addiction. Can you please help me get out?" The fitness expert says, Yeah, I'll give you a month free subscription to my gym. Come on over and we'll fix it." And the food addict is still stuck in this big black hole of addiction and says, "Can someone please come help me? I can't get out of this big black hole of food addiction." And a doctor walks by and says, "What can I do for you? Please help me get out of this hole that is my food addiction." And the doctor says, Yeah, I'll write you a prescription and throw it down to you. That'll fix it." And the food addict says, "No, no, please help me." And he's shouting in his desperation out of this big black hole, saying, "I'm this food addict. I'm stuck in this big black hole and I can't get out." And then a carnivore comes walking by, and the guy in the hole says, "I'm a food addict. I can't get out of this big black hole of food addiction. Can you please help me?" And the carnivore jumps down into the big black hole with him And the guy says, "You're crazy. You can't jump here into this big black hole of food addiction." And the carnivore says, "Yes, I can, because I've been here before and I know the way out."
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. Yeah, folks, you may think we're crazy. You know, you may think we're fringe, that we're outliers, that that we're nuts, but you know, and look, it's not like we're. I mean, I'll be serious. It's not like we're asking you to take a pill. It's not like we're asking you to shoot something into your arm. All we're asking you to do is just change the way you eat for 90 days.
Yes.
That's all we're asking. I mean, seriously. I mean, could things go any more wrong than you just changing your diet for 90 days? Nah, not at all. Because again, it's either going to work or it's not. It's either going to be sustainable for you going further, into 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, or it just doesn't work. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, the thing with Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Adkins, all these other things is, it's not sustainable. At least with Jenny Craig, because you got to keep buying their food, but it's all processed food. So go figure.
There's a scheme.
At least with with Weight Watchers, they try to help you out, but they kind of tell you what kind of food to eat, and what ends up happening is most of the food that they're trying to get you to eat is all processed foods anyway. And we're just trying to get you off that. So, folks, thank you very much. I really hope that you have watched us all the way through, and we've gone through the questions that I had, but we've also had, I think, some really good, important conversations, on different topics. And it again, it's up to you if you want to do this. But we're gonna really, and we will be right there on the sidelines helping you out. If you want to ask questions, and remember, folks, I've also got a Discord server that I'll put the link in the description as well. If you want to go in there, look, and again, I think I've said this a lot, but I don't say it all the time. Okay, we're not doctors. Okay, we can't prescribe anything to you. What we're giving you is firsthand information of things that have happened to us, how this has been going. So it's and like I said, we're not trying to sell you anything. We're not trying to tell you that this is a miracle cure. It's not, but the things that will come out of it may feel like a miracle because you're changing your life all by just changing what you eat. So, all right, Mr. Per Aksel, thank you, sir. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for coming on. And like I said, I will give the link to his channel in the description. And folks, yeah, we want to hear about you. I want to do this with you, and again, if you don't have a camera, that's okay. I mean, I had somebody just go and record all of her answers to the questions that I sent, and I could always do that. If you can get on, if you can at least get to the internet and you have a microphone and you just don't have a camera, that's fine. I can still actually record you. I can still record your voice, and I can still get the answers. We may not be able to see you, but it's still something is better than nothing. So, all right, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
For having me. God bless.
All right, everybody. Take care.
Norway out.